Blessings. A little sage and a little Santo Paulo, Paulo Santo. An offering to your higher self from mine. I love it. Cheers. According to this Gregorian calendar that so many of us are attuned to, it is now 2017. In this, it seems we are in agreement. And to this, I will toast. So good. Hi. I'm so happy to be here with you. I first want to introduce myself. I am Tuesday May Thomas. I want to thank you all so much. Those of you who subscribe and who never watch. Those of you who subscribe and watch. Those of you who subscribe, comment, and watch and share and like and pay it forward. I'm so grateful. In this next year, once we're out of this Mercury retrograde, I am going to begin my plan. My goal is to begin a YouTube live show where I will be with you every week discussing Reiki, multidimensional healing, and metaphysics from the background I come from and through all the knowledge that I have gathered from my almost 20 years of experience. I am an author, a master Reiki teacher. I've been a yoga teacher for as long as I can remember, and that's always been a beautiful entryway into meeting my communities and the people and places and spaces that I am drawn to be and really feel of service and where I find and meet my purpose. So the gift that I would like to pay forward and share with you today is called the energy letter. I generally share this exercise at most workshops that I facilitate, and it is so hugely powerful. It came to me a long time ago, maybe in 96 or 97. Oh, 20 years ago. Incredible. And the way it came is I was going out with someone that I was head over heels in love with. And I thought he was in love with me, and we were together, I don't know, 4 or 6 months or something, like right in the heat of the honeymoon juice. And he went away for a week, and when he came back, he told me that he had slept with another woman. Right? So I, of course, freaked out, did all that stuff, and broke up with him. And he still had some real precious items of mine at his house, and I didn't feel comfortable to go over there or to knock on the door or to be a drama queen and like do all sorts of phone calls or weird messages and stuff. So I just prayed, I meditated, and I asked Source, Universe, God. I didn't call it God back then, but that's a whole other discussion. I asked, what's the best way of resolving this situation, of getting my stuff back, basically. And I received this download to write his higher self an energy letter from my higher self. And basically, my higher self connected with his higher self, pen, paper, envelope, and I wrote to him all of my feelings, everything that I needed to get off of my chest, my hurt, my pain, my disappointment at being betrayed, my fear, all this stuff that was like deep in the basement. I had to get out and put it onto paper. This was the guidance. And so I did it. And I also called him a few things. I was pissed off. I was hurt. So I called him a few names, if you will, to get that off my chest. But, under the guise of my higher self, it seemed perfectly appropriate. So I did that. Wrote the whole letter, everything that I needed to say. And I also asked his higher self that under grace, if I may have in some magical, miraculous way, my things back that were so really important to me. I think it was like my guitar, some recordings of some music I had done. There was like some really precious things that I couldn't get back if they never came back. So the guidance then in the meditation was to fold it up, put it in an envelope, and to write on the front of the envelope, to your higher self from my higher self. And the next part of the guidance was really trippy, because then the universe said, now go put it in a mailbox. And I thought, what? Without a stamp or without his name, without my real name? What the hell is this all about? How does this work? And the universe was like, trust me. So I said, okay. So I opened the mailbox and I put it in and I let it go. Swear to God, within 1 week, I came home from work and there was a box on the welcome mat at the front door with all of my things. I think there was maybe 3, 4, or 5 little things. You know, when you are with someone 4 to 6 months in a relationship, you stay at each other's house and you leave little things at their house. And he had gathered them all up, and it was just beautifully left on my doorstep when I got home from work, and there was no weird letter from him or like no weird vibes at all. It was just this beautiful cornucopia of things that were rightfully mine that I received back. So as soon as that happened, I was like, whoa, the energy letter, it really works. And since then, I've been sharing it with people, telling my friends, I've blogged about it. I'll put a link down below for the blog on this as well. And anytime I've gotten into situations with relationships, with new work adventures, creative endeavors, health issues. You know, there was a time as well where I had been rear-ended in a car accident, and it completely fucked up my body. It completely changed my body's ability to do what it was so used to doing. And there was a long period of time of physical therapy, which was very challenging when you're used to being very active in your yoga practice or just fitness-wise, and then all of a sudden you're told, like, yeah, you can't do anything. Thank God for Kalinetics. All my body sculptors will be familiar with that. So then what I started to do is I recognized that this is a really powerful tool and a way and a means to clear the air, to run energy metaphysically without having to literally be there with a person, place, or a thing, right? I didn't have to like call up my ex and say, hey, this is what's going on a third dimensional level. I could use the metaphysics that were, in a way, using time and space, my mind and my mouth, my word and my thought, but putting it on paper, getting the feelings out of my system, out of my body, putting them onto a concrete piece of paper, blessing it, and sending it forth to wherever it should go. Now, it is interesting because I have had a few students who've said, but like, you know, what if the postmaster gets all these letters and they're just like, there's no names, there's no stamps, isn't it going to upset them? Are we going to get in trouble by the government? No, you're not going to get in trouble at all. And once I started teaching this and it went out more and more, and people came back with these like weird questions like what if and what's going to happen. And I sat and I meditated with it, and really what I get, and you tell me if you get the same thing or something different, is that if these items, say, get collected with stacks of other items at a post office, I had this vision where there's like this stack of random, you know, energy letters and just letters that people forgot to put stamps on or whatever, just the mishap, sort of lost and found of letters at the postal office. And I imagine these people like sitting there on their lunch break, like opening this stuff up and reading them. And the only thing that I got is that the divine alignment of the good of all will always see to it the perfect connection between person and energy letter, if that is what's meant to be. If that energy letter gets into someone else's hands and they happen to read it, it will serve in some divine manner their own healing, their own path of well-being and of realization. And I think that's really cool. So that really resonated with me, and that little story generally helps to quench the any fears or any, you know, when we think about things too much, we get into our mind and we're like, well, what if and what if and what if and how and why and what. And so no, just trust. If this resonates with you as an energy tool, I please invite you to explore it. And this can be, oh, like I was saying, so I got rear-ended, right, several years ago. And I was really depressed and disappointed because I couldn't be in my body in the same way. I sat down and I wrote my body an energy letter, which is posted at the blog, and I told it everything I needed to tell it. And I expressed gratitude, and I also expressed, you know, my fear and my disappointments, my highs and my lows, and I put it in the envelope and I blessed it and I sent it off. I put it in the post box and let it go. And I think that's the important thing, is that final step of letting it go. I know some of my students feel really empowered if they have the fireplace or a safe place out on their patio or their yard to burn it. Maybe at a full moon, at an equinox, a new moon, if something like that really resonates with you, please do make it your own. But know that that final step is important. You need to give it to God or give it away to source, give it to that person's higher self so that they can receive it. And here's the thing, right? Anything I share with you, there's never a force of will. Like Reiki, we're never forcing someone to heal. We're never forcing anyone to do anything that they do not want to do or that they are not interested in being a part of. Everything we do is for the highest good of all. That is the cosmic clause always, okay? So when we ask to be connected to this person's higher self, whether it's your own higher self of your body, your higher self connecting with the higher self of your body, your higher self connecting with an ex, your higher self connecting, with the ex's higher self, your higher self connecting with the higher self of your mother, father, brother, sister, lover, uncle, cousin, nephew, the plumber, the guy at the store, the person who came to install your electricity, your teacher from second grade, whoever you might have a grievance, an issue, whoever you need to forgive or extend some compassion, place love there, heal, or get your anger out. And I know it sounds ironic, like why would your higher self, say bad things or extend in anger or express that? Well, your higher self understands that you are multidimensional and that there's a physical aspect of yourself that is in many ways bound to the polarity and duality of the earth plane, which balances itself out generally between love and fear, and anger and frustration and disappointment and jealousy and just misery and despair and all the things that perhaps could happen in many different levels of relationship with your own self and with others. All of those things are completely allowed and encouraged to be expressed in your energy letter as a means for you to really clear and cleanse your mental paradigm, your sphere of who you think you are, so that all those parts of yourself that do not resonate with the truth that you are, which is always love, right? There's an energetic blueprint that you are, that your higher self is divinely connected to as your higher self, as your light body. And your light body is constantly, perfectly in the light. It's constantly, perfectly attuned to the God, to the Jesus, to the Christ, to the Buddha, to whatever name you may give, source energy, life force energy, the prana, the divine wisdom of all of the ages. Your light body and your higher self are directly connected and aligned with that. And if they are guiding you, get get those feelings and those emotions out of your body, out of your mind. Give them a place to go so they don't fester inside of you. That's the wisdom of your higher self, giving you the medicine that could indeed really serve your path along your healing, your peace, and your well-being. Now we know that as we send this information out, as we release it, we're releasing all of those feelings, those painful memories, the information, yes, the memory that has accumulated within us. We're moving it from within us, putting it through word, through thought, placing it on the paper, blessing it, writing to your higher self from my higher self, and giving it away, burning it, putting it in the post box, or any other amazing thing you might be guided to do. But those are two of the main ways of working with this energy tool. If you do come up with other ways, do comment below. I'd be interested to know. So what happens is once you release that letter, your higher self has placed the information into that letter. Energetically, the other person, place, or things, yes, you can write an energy letter to not only a person, but to a place or a thing. We've all had many experiences with places and things that can be quite profound, and so that's not to be overlooked. Sometimes, indeed, to have a conversation, right, to clear the air with the air, to clear the air with a mountain. And what I'll say as well is that things do not always have to be going wrong or bad or be seeking correction for you to use the energy letter tool. You can write a letter from your higher self to the higher self of a facility that you wish to work at, to the higher self of your potential new boss, to the higher self of a book publishing company that you might be sending in your chapters to. You know, there's a lot of different ways. It could be exes from many, many years ago. Maybe you're going through a full overhaul of your life and you're deciding, I'm going to forgive a lot of people, including myself. So who might I, and you're going to know right away, right? Who are the main 1, 2, 3, there could be 5, there could be more people, right, that come up for you, where there could be resistance, there could be ill feelings of one thing or another, things that were not expressed by you, and you feel you don't have the opportunity to express them to this person in person. Another way that we can think about it is, you know, I know women who have had abortions, and even though these abortions maybe took place 20, 30 years ago, the memory is still in their body. And as they move on their healing path, they come up against it, right? There's different levels of healing. And as we move through the healing realms, through the chakras, what they might realize in that first and second chakra is the baby, the imprint, the memory of the baby is still there. There's things that they need to express to that unborn child, or to themselves as well, and who they thought they were going to be if they were going to go through with the baby, or who they thought they were going to be even by not having the baby, and what highs and lows and just all the realm of emotional experiences and physical experiences that they've been through since that. And to have that conversation with that unborn child has been really powerful. I've also had students where they've written these letters out to loved ones that have passed away, whether those are your parents, family, relations, best friends, things that you want to connect to, again, either just under grace and just say, like, I'm thinking about you, I love you, bless you forever, or it's like, you know what, you've been dead for 5 years and I have been angry about the situation that happened like 35 years ago, and I never told you, and I can't go on living unless I just get this off my chest, so I need to write my energy letter now, say all the things I never said, so I can clear myself and release it and let it be done. So what happens? Again, no force of any will. But what happens is that the universe is always seeking its balance, because there are these tipping scales of love and fear as the main set points on this third dimensional reality. The universe is always seeking its balance. So it's always seeking its balance in the way of love, because love is the truth. God is love. Source is love. And love really on this plane has an opposite, but ultimately we're moving towards reconnecting or remembering our connection with the source that is one, right? And it's funny because we get to the one from the zero. Okay, and that's another conversation we'll go into another time. But that's what we're going towards. We're going towards defusing the polarized feelings, emotions, the mental triggers, the emotional triggers that we have every time I see this person, every time I think about this person, every time this happens, I get like this, every time that happens, I get like that. So these are all things that if they are not in harmony with who you feel you are authentically being and want to be as your higher self in waking life, and if those things are not reflected because there's a whole bunch of other people, places, or things in your memory of your past, of who you think you were and what you think happened, then that's got to get cleared, right? There will be no present, right? We think about it in moving forward, but really it's all now. But in that sense, there will be no moving forward. There will be no being in the now moment if we still walk with all of these memories of hurt, of being a victim, etc., etc., etc. And that's obviously speaking in terms of where there's a lot of pain or shame or guilt or things to express. Or you could just write a book, as I have. That's certainly one way of clearing the decks. All right, so it's 2017. So here's the plan. You get to consider all the people, places, and things that you would like to write an energy letter to from 2016. And what's going to happen is that along your way, you're going to realize, like, oh, something from the past is going to come up. Something from a really long time ago in the past is going to come up. And I mean, all you have to do is write like, X's, and you'll start to think of their names and people, places, situations that were involved or things that happened, and you don't really want to have those triggers anymore. You don't want to be that person, but you realize that there's this deep grooved memory that kind of gives you this knee-jerk reaction every time you think about that person or hear that song or something, and you're just so ready to be free of it. And sure, there's a lot of other ways that we can energetically be released, and this is a very beautiful way of merging our mental of merging our multidimensional abilities: mind, emotions, body, and spirit. Now, the way this works is their higher self is going to get the memo. Their higher self, right? You send the letter off, do, 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 energetically, there it goes. Their higher self is going to be like, oh, we have mail. It's going to open up the letter, it's going to read it, and it's going to take in the information, right? And what's going to happen is that on the third dimension, the earth plane, the physical person, place, or thing that you're writing the letter to, will energetically receive the information, the downloads of information, of the feelings, the information that you're expressing in your letter. And on this denser third dimensional level, to the level and ability that that person, place, or thing is ready to hear you, because really that's what it's about, right? Is we all want to be seen and heard in our truest light. And so this person is going to energetically, where they are ready to meet the information that you are putting into that letter, where they are ready to meet the information you are sharing for their highest good of their path, they're going to begin to become aware subconsciously of the information, the messages that you are conveying to them. And they will appropriately and accordingly align, because the universe is always seeking its balance under maximal love and light and towards maximal love and light, because love and light are the truth. This is what the ripple effect will be for you and for one and all. This is a really good exercise as well if you're seeking to release, right, a business partner, release a partner, a relationship, or you're going through divorce, you're going through separation, you are making changes, you're releasing your home, you're selling your home, you're selling your car, you're applying for a new home, you're applying for a new car, whatever it might be. Third dimensionally, you can energetically reach out and run grids, which we will be getting into a much deeper discussion on in this next year. You will be running energy in the universe for the highest good of all. Okay, so let's break this down. How it works is make a list of the people, places, and things that were mega in your life in this last year, 2016. What people, places, and things do you feel really strongly you need to make peace with, you need to forgive, you need to release, you need to express yourself with, and perhaps find it challenging for a number of reasons to do so in the presence of this person or of this place and this thing, right? And I say place and thing because we do have energetic relationships with things, with stuff, right? So like I said, you can write an energy letter to the car that you seek to sell, and you can say thank you for all of your years of blessings, of safe transportation. I'm so grateful for you, my Honda CVX, whatever it is. But now I'm releasing you. I'm looking to own a Prius, and I'm changing gears in my life. And so I bless you, and I thank you, and I release you from my higher self to yours. Boop, put it in the mailbox. Buy car, right? Making space. We're making space. We're creating the correct conditions within ourselves so that we may be aligned with our truth and with our higher self. And our higher self knows what is for our higher good. And as we release that which does not feel in alignment, right? It doesn't feel good for me to walk every day in my life and to feel this anger, to feel this pain. And so I seek to release it now. So what I want to leave you with is knowing that you don't have to put anyone's names on any of the letters anywhere at all. I know for some people this may resonate, this energy tool may resonate, but it might be in regard to some very, very traumatic instances that have happened in your life, whether recent or from the very far past ago. And I know as a writer myself that sometimes, even when I journal, I put code. There's some things that I feel like, oh, when I die, everyone's going to read it or whatever, right? But then there's some things where I'm like, even if I do die, when I die, I don't want anyone to know what this is really about. This is my sacred space. And so just know that you can do that. I've written plenty of energy letters where I've just put to your higher self from my higher self. And there's not my name and not anyone else's name on it. And if that feels comfortable, please honor that. Especially if you live in a small town, you probably don't want to put the first and last name of the person's name on the envelope that you're going to put it into the post box. And then the local postman is, hey, hi. You know, I've lived in places like that, and I have friends who live in places like that. And so you may want to drive into another city. You know, it becomes like a metaphysical adventure, or you may want to wait. I know I've written an energy letter, and don't wait too long, but I've kept it with me in my bag, and I've just like waited for the right post box to appear. And generally within a week at least of writing the letter, you want to get this stuff out of you and send it out, right? But the post box will be like, pull over here, and I'll just know that's the right destination for it. So it allows us to kind of tap into those extrasensory perceptions that are really beyond the five senses, right? It's really your higher self saying, pay attention. Here's where it goes. Now, funny enough as well, I did have a student who, even though he wrote, you know, to your higher self or my higher self, and he did his whole energy letter, he decided to put a stamp on it anyway, even though there were no addresses on it, because he intuitively felt that that would help it get there faster. So I love this stuff, right? So whatever you feel that will assist and serve your creative process of making it real for you is just so powerful. I love it all. And know that you're doing the work on your side. So we're not expecting anything by doing this, but what we do know is that we're doing our work for ourselves. So by you just sitting with your feelings and giving them a place outside of you to go onto the paper, and then furthermore releasing it, that's huge medicine to gift yourself. What happens on the level of the higher self and for the higher good of all is up to Source, is up to God, is up to the maximal love and light of all creation. That is not our job. Our job is to do our work here, to bless it, to release it, and for the highest good, so it shall be done for one and all. So please, as you do this work, release any expectations you may have. I'm so grateful. Thank you again for hanging out on this New Year's Day. And I'm so excited to be coming to you soon with my new YouTube live show. I'm going to be doing it every week, talking about metaphysics, talking about Reiki, multidimensional energy tools, and healing, and all sorts of juicy, cool concepts that I'm just like, so ready. I'm so ready to bring them to you. So blessings and salud.